Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this one, we have a little bit of an intriguing one. Wall Street Journal itself now just made a hit piece on Xbox. Now, as you guys probably know, the Xbox has had a little bit of issues going on in terms of sales, in terms of Game Pass, in terms of some of the more bigger quote-unquote flops when it comes to their more mainstay games, think like Starfield or Halo. But right now, we actually did see the Wall Street Journal go make an Xbox lost the console war. Now it's redefining gaming video, and I just figured I want to go and sit here and react to it with you guys, because I just feel like, what on earth are the normies of the gaming world going to be talking about? So let's go talk about it, and make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We have the Twitter and Twitch room down below, and I'll have a lot of things to go and kind of casually dive on into, so hope you guys will sit back, relax, and enjoy. Now, I'm a big fan of Xbox. I like Game Pass, current Game Pass subscriber, but at the same time, they have been not selling as well, especially throughout the entire planet, and of course, they haven't had a lot of more mainstay games as of recently. Wukong, Baldur's Gate, etc., and Game Pass is good, but we haven't seen the effects of Activision Blizzard as of yet. So let's go and see what the Wall Street Journal has to say.
This is the Xbox Series X.
Yes, it is.
Microsoft's most powerful flagship console. For a long time, you needed an Xbox to play games like Halo or Gears of War. Then, Microsoft decided you don't. So it launched a monthly subscription service that lets users play the latest games.
The fun thing is we're still not really sure if Game Pass can be good, by the way. Like, we have to wait a few more years. It's a new product. We got to give it like 10 years. It might be good, might redefine gaming, might be a complete flop and money sink. So far, it seems okay.
A bunch of other devices. But it's increasingly competitive and will take a lot of investment to make it work. So will this shift pay off? And what does it mean for the future of the console? I
still think at some point they're going to always have some sort of Xbox, maybe more focused on, say, like a cloud service, maybe USB stick, maybe like a really cheap console that's pure digital. That's basically a hub to use the cloud itself, but we'll see.
The economics of Xbox. Today, with more than 30 game studios, Xbox is an industry mainstay.
But it had to really earn that position in the market.
The console war began in the 1970s, when video game companies started competing to create a more powerful console and win more customers. By the 90s, the biggest players were Sony, Nintendo, and Sega. And in 1997, consumer spending on consoles surpassed arcades for the first time.
And that's why the biggest thing where people realize I can go home and I don't have to spend like 50 cents a quarter to go play games when I can just go buy for $300, $400 at the time and just play forever. I think it's a good switch up.
A few years later, Microsoft entered the scene with its first-generation Xbox. To entice customers into their ecosystems, most of these companies tried to keep the prices on their consoles as low as possible, selling them at a loss. Xbox loses up to $200 per console, but the brands made up the difference.
Which is why sometimes they're like, hey, let's go do Game Pass instead. Let's go do cloud gaming instead. Let's go have PC gaming instead. Because at the end of the day, they're going to save money. Now, obviously, prices get cheaper over time, or sometimes if you sell a lot, you'll make a lot of money from AMD, etc. Or sometimes you even turn a profit, or accessories, whatever. But like, it is a big deal.
By selling games and other accessories.
The more consoles you sell, the more software you're going to sell with it.
The PlayStation outsold the Xbox every single time. Microsoft only came close to beating Sony with the Xbox 360.
Which was a go-to console.
Say this was because the PlayStation 3, which ran customers up to $600, was priced too high. But the Xbox lost ground with the next generation, and ultimately, it lost the console war. In 2017, Xbox launched Game Pass, positioning itself as a services brand.
It's more interested in making content available to people on whatever device they choose to play on.
Game Pass is a tiered service. The least expensive plans offer gaming on either console or PC, and the most expensive plan has multi-device gaming and other features like streaming games from the cloud and access to certain games the day they're released. In essence, Microsoft is betting that it can get more customers if they don't have to buy a console.
Which I think is still a smart call. There's a lot of PC people. More people move to PC over time. You have phones, you have other stuff. You might even have mobile consoles, USB sticks. Like, I think if they're investing in the future, there is a good chance. Like, as enough where I'd also put money on it myself. But is it going to happen? Who knows? But they're kind of hitting everything at least, which is nice.
This model also gives the company a recurring revenue stream, so it doesn't have to rely as much on blockbuster successes.
So Game Pass solves the problem on the consumer side by making lots of content available for cheap, and on the business or the supply side in terms of offsetting the financial volatility associated with entertainment.
Microsoft's head of gaming, Phil Spencer, has said Game Pass is profitable.
And I think it will stay in that 10 to 15% of our overall revenue.
But it also depends too long term if they're going to keep on making money. Now, like Call of Duty might be a good example. They're going to be losing $70 per sale to go get like a $10, $15 subscription pass. If they're long term, forget about it, or do multiple months, it might be worth it. DLC packs, who knows? But at the same time, that actually might even lose them money for quite some time or take longer for them to regain money over time as well. They're going to be still making money off the PlayStation or PC sales, but still, it's a big deal.
But Microsoft isn't the only one stepping into the subscription world. In 2022, Sony merged.
I kind of think the PS Plus, in all honesty, is not that cool. So I mean, like if they did day one games, sure. Right now, I'm kind of like, on PS Plus.
Its subscription services,
there's potential
PlayStation
there, but
Plus and PlayStation Now, and relaunched it to compete with Game Pass. There are two key things that give Microsoft an edge. First, it's a much larger company with lots and lots of money. And for the past decade, Microsoft has been using that money to acquire game studios, beefing up its library. In 2014, it bought Mojang, the maker of Minecraft.
This was probably one of the biggest deals they ever possibly did. We even saw the Minecraft movie get just announced, but that trailer sucked, but I also don't. I like Jack Black, but I feel like he plays the same character all the time, so I'm not really sure if it's going to be fun or not, whatever. But like, yeah, dude, they probably made so much money off this one, but what do you kind of do as Mojang for like a part 2? They've done a few Minecraft spinoffs, and like, it's okay, but at a certain point, everyone owns Minecraft. I mean, there's always new kids being born, sure, but like, you kind of have to compete with like the Roblox, and sometimes it gets lame, and you know, sometimes you have weird people like those dream people who are just strange, so it does make things a little harder on that one. But it does really kind of seem like Microsoft just keeps shoving their money everywhere, hoping that their subscription and like platforming business does well, Game Pass and being a publisher, instead of actually making good games. But I want them to do both. If they do both, they'll be a winner.
For $2.5 billion. In 2021, it bought ZeniMax Media, owner of Fallout and Doom, for $8.1 billion. And in 2023, it finalized the purchase of Activision Blizzard, the maker of Call of Duty and Candy Crush, for $75.4 billion.
To put it in perspective, that is a little bit less than what Sony makes annually.
Second, as a giant tech company, Microsoft owns lots and lots of data centers, over 300 worldwide.
Now, the data centers are probably the most important part. Like, little side note, I actually invest in a lot of these AI data centers that have been being grown these past few years, and they're usually kind of correspond with like Bitcoin miners, like people who are using like basically leveraging technology and leveraging power sources to go and amplify data centers and AI. And I really think if they have all these data centers, because they have it for Microsoft Windows, whatever, like use that for Game Pass, and they probably are. So, I mean, I could really see if they already have the infrastructure, keep expanding the infrastructure and doing well. And that's how long-term they'll do
Some
good.
of which help support Game Pass and cloud gaming.
See? The incumbents like Nintendo and Sony, they live and die on great content and this magnificent retail distribution infrastructure that they've built. So it's in Microsoft's interest to push into its data centers and its infrastructure in the cloud because it can't beat Sony and Nintendo at retail.
This puts it in an arena that mainly other massive tech companies like Amazon, Nvidia, and Google can really compete in. But there are lots of obstacles. To start, adoption has been slow. In 2020, it targeted 71% subscriber growth and reached 86%.
That's not bad, but I'm sure it's also pandemic numbers will go down. Like, it is really hard to get people on Game Pass, but more so staying on Game Pass. I'll do Game Pass for 1 or 2 months, wait for new games to come out, and go from there. They really need to have like a consistent launch schedule of every like 2 to 3 months, where it's like, hey, I'm going to go re-up it in 3 months, might as well not cancel. Or have things like Call of Duty and the DLCs included, so like people that are long-term Call of Duty people can enjoy it for like a long period of time. Get things like World of Warcraft in there, or whatever it might be, and like, it's cool. Like, I'm not against it. It could be cool.
But the following year, it fell short. And in 2022, it missed its target.
And this is horrible in terms of actual numbers. Like, it's still growing, and growth is always what matters the most. But once again, it's not like sustainable long-term growth. It's going to be very like roller coaster growth at the end of the day. Some months will go good, some months will go bad. Sometimes you have a flop like Redfall, and then people who may have even subscribed for it, like I did, will just go and cancel the next month or even have a bad taste in their mouth.
By a long shot.
Some people are just not comfortable with the idea of not actually owning a game.
That too. Physical ownership is a big deal.
Put it down for 6 months and pick it up later, or a year later, or
like
more.
Witcher or
and
Cyberpunk.
It may not
same.
be in the subscription service anymore after that time.
So as of 2024, Game Pass has amassed 34 million subscribers. Some of the biggest challenges are specific to cloud gaming, a feature included in Game Pass's top tier.
The thing is, I don't think I see a lot of people using cloud gaming, even for like, the Google Stadia and stuff like that. Like, people do, they tinker around with it, but the user base is people would rather just go play, like download it themselves and play it. Like, say, think Steam, think Xbox Game Pass, but you're downloading the game for your PC rather than streaming it. I just don't think the internet's there, but it's almost there. Like, I think it's worth the investment, but we'll have to see how many people pick it up in the future.
Traditionally, game data was stored locally on cartridges, discs, or downloaded straight to the console. With online multiplayer games, data like each player's actions were streamed. But with cloud gaming, the entire game is streamed to your device, which can be laggy.
If it's a competitive game, a millisecond can mean the difference.
Yeah, imagine playing like Call of Duty and you're lagging. You're going to feel horrible. You're going to quit. Destiny, you're going to quit. World of Warcraft, you're going to quit. All these games, you'd probably quit.
Between winning and losing.
Cloud gaming is also expensive to operate.
The economics have changed, but
it will get cheaper over time, though. It will get cheaper over time.
They haven't immediately changed to only run a profit. Both of those offerings, whether those are product-based and conventional or whether they are streaming and more digital, both of those run at a loss in principle, but to recuperate and to earn money in those contexts is a very different proposition.
One report found that just 6% of gamers around the world were subscribed to a cloud gaming service.
I would probably still at this point not use cloud gaming. I'm a hardcore gamer. I don't think I would, but I can see the future of it being nice, or more so I always say, like, if you go to like a dorm, you move a lot, you're a traveler, like you travel for work, like I can see it. Or maybe in like more of like an impoverished country and you just have to go and cloud stream itself. Like you have internet but don't have enough money for a Xbox or a nice TV. Like I can make it makes sense. There's there, but it's just still niche and it has to keep growing.
2023.
So it's a risk.
Still, experts believe it will grow substantially.
Cloud gaming is one of those few components where they could possibly thrive and lead, even if that's a much more modestly sized industry.
Microsoft isn't getting rid of the Xbox anytime soon. Later this year, it will release new versions.
I still think they're going to have at least a few new Xboxes. I could see at least one good, another generation, maybe two, and then probably switch to more things like USB sticks, integrations on TVs, or just trying to get Game Pass everywhere, or just more mainly focus on PC gamers, because PC gaming does keep growing over time, I believe.
Of its current generation, the Series X and S. But it's clear that Xbox views its content as the future of the company, not its hardware.
It is incredibly difficult for these large companies, in spite of their resources, to be agile and innovative. And so, they're always watching someone else just run the show. And so in many ways, you could make the argument that the current effort and investment towards Game Pass and xCloud and all of the things that they're building and acquiring goes towards perhaps finally being in the driver's seat for the first time.
Giving it the chance to win whatever the new gaming war will be.
I can see it. So at the end of the day, it's always just the same thing. Is Game Pass going to win? Is it going to be a good investment? It's a huge, probably billions upon billions of dollars, especially if you factor in Activision, like $100 billion business. So is it worth it? Like Microsoft has enough money to make it work, and they have all these data centers going to be making money from it, having usage, et cetera, getting user data, getting people in their games. Subscriptions for Game Pass is sustaining it too as well. So I do think there's a lot of good stuff at the end of the day going with this. So I think there is good potential. I think Xbox may have lost the console war, but they might win the future war, but we don't know. We really don't necessarily know. So this is kind of like the fun of us observing everything in the background. So yeah, PlayStation has way more sales, but maybe in the future, Game Pass will make 100 million subscribers and make more money long term. Or maybe even Game Pass ends up on PlayStation. Maybe PlayStation games end up on Xbox. We never know, but it's fun to go and see and speculate, and that's why I like making videos on this. So a little bit of a weird reaction. Hope you guys didn't mind it. Make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. Give me your thoughts and comments down below, and I appreciate y'all for watching.